A rogue's master plan backfires thanks to an old D&D master. Coming right up on FlavorText. Hi, it's Thomas, they, them. Before this story, I'd like to give you a little bit of my background with TTRPGs. For me, it all began when I was 5 or 6 and began to listen to my dad's bi-monthly, twice a month, his twice a month campaign that he played in. I loved the stories he and his group told. I got so excited for every second Sunday, and Dad even let me roll his D20 occasionally. I was his lucky die roller. In critical moments, he'd bring me over to the table with a, "Thomas, come here, come roll this one for me." And I could never refuse. I was and am in no way responsible. However, for any character deaths during that time, I was his lucky die roller. If the result was poor, clearly it wasn't my fault. Just saying. It wasn't just dice, though. Booster boxes for Mech Warrior, packs of cards for Warlord, I was his lucky everything. His passion for his hobbies inspired my passion for mine. Like I said, it wasn't just dice. They were the physical representation of our shared interest. They're what brought us together. So it only made sense that when he was in town on my regular D&D group night, I invited him to come watch. So, with the party's permission, they only knew him as the mysterious being that joked about TPKing the party. He got to. This is the story of that night. Setting the scene. This is session 2 or 3 of my campaign, a fantasy homebrew designed for 3 players. Their characters. Reyna Galalind Morris, timid half-elf sorcerer with a level dip in alchemist. Zacharia, contemplative gnome monk, multiclassed with the anime protagonist. And Caladion Loren Lathier, kleptomaniac, elf rogue assassin. Our session began with each of the party members making their way to the Festival of Calum, a celebration of a hero of old. The party each had their own problems on the way there, and after paying a sizable toll to enter the fairgrounds, found their way into each other's lives. They go save a kid, check out a carnival, make fun of terrible actors, overall having a very good time. Well, a few days into this festival, the party suspects that the toll houses set around the perimeter aren't actually run by the governing baron or his men at all, and are instead operated by some incredibly industrious bandits. They were correct, but I couldn't just confirm that. That would be too easy. So the party begins to scheme. And by party, I mean the rogue. After all, even if there was no evidence in the toll houses, then there would at least be a sizable amount of silver and gold, as this was day 6 or 7 of the festival and the stream of guests was showing no signs of stopping.
Okay.
Asked the other two.
What's the plan?
And then began what I can only describe as a hot mess. First up, the party would need a distraction. Something that could pull a guard away from their toll house. So, Caladion leaves a suit of polished chainmail half buried in the grass, positioning it so the sun will strike it at the precise moment necessary during the operation. Next, attach a note to the armor, so that when the guard investigates, he not only has to spend the time reading, and put an illustration with it too, just in case he's illiterate, but the note itself incriminates another, totally different rogue. The Baboon Saint, he calls himself. Then, while the guard is distracted with the majesty of the Baboon Saint, Caladion can sneak into the toll house, snag the incriminating evidence, including the stolen money, because it's also evidence, and escape before they return. Yeah, that sounds like a good plan. Meanwhile, as Caladion is proud of what he's come up with, I can't help but notice my dad laughing gently to himself from the couch. Finally, the moment strikes. The sun is high and the party prepares for their daring heist. Chainmail, polished and buried, perfectly in position. Sun, falling in the sky. Cloud cover, non-existent, no breeze to unexpectedly blow anything in the way. The dungeon master, who was expecting like a simple,
"Oh hey, could you follow me real quick?"
or a
Help! Goblins!
sort of deal, scared and confused and internally dying. The rogue is in position, stealthed perfectly up to his mark, and while waiting for their bizarre Rube Goldberg machine to queue up, forgets exactly what was supposed to start it all, and so, figuring that he could just start the process of events himself, knocks an arrow to his bow and fires. At which point, my dad speaks up. "So the guard hears that, right? Bows make noise when they fire." All eyes turn to me immediately. My dad's face is plastered with the cheekiest grin. My rogue's face is plastered with fear. The other two players look at me, faces full of suspense, waiting for my decision. I roll the die behind the screen, but looking at my dad, I already know the result. The guard turns to look at him. "Can I help you, sir?" And I'll be honest, this session was so long ago that I can't remember all of the fallout. Only two things. One, Caladion would go on to hate the idea of the Baboon Saint, as it spread through the setting like wildfire. And stayed there. At least one character will not let it die. That may be another story for another time. 2. In that critical moment when straits were dire, remembering all of the dice I'd rolled and outcomes I'd determined for my dad, I had to let my dad determine one of mine. Close as I could get to asking him to roll the dice for me.
Next time, our group of occult investigators discovers the best way to clean up a crime scene. Coming right up on FlavorText.